What is your buy box? BUYBOX. What is your buy box? If you speak to most real estate investors in today's world, especially if they're connected to wholesaling, they're probably going to ask you, what is your buy box? What is your criteria? What type of property are you looking for? As a real estate investor, you need to have that in mind. You need to know that. Guess what? Even if you're not an investor, if you're a wholesaler, if you work on commission, making calls as a VA or an in-person team member, if you're just a bird dog, I say that respectfully, driving, looking for deals and properties. If you're doing that, you still need to know what the investors that you work with buy box is. You need to know that. So if you're not familiar with buy box, it simply describes what type of property an investor is looking for. Like I just had a wholesaling buddy of mine reach out to me, and he has a hot property in a certain area in Metro Atlanta. But I never gave him a clear update on what areas that are on the top of my buy box list now. And the area that he's got the property that he was reaching out to me on, it's an area that is it's not even on my top 5 list. I got 5 counties that's at the top of my list here in Metro Atlanta. We got a lot of counties. And I'm familiar with those areas. I have a list of buyers or potential buyers in those areas or tenants in those areas. So my point is, my buy box criteria is based on properties that I know I could easily fix, flip, and resell to homestead buyers, or I can purchase them, fix them up, and rent them or do some type of lease option with them because I have a list of buyers or tenants in certain areas. So all I'm saying to you is, if you're a real estate investor, you need to be clear on your buy box. Don't just be like, well, I want anything. You don't want everything. I'm sitting here looking at deals, not necessarily deals, but potential properties right now. And when I go through some of these properties, I skim through hundreds of them because I'm trying to find ones that fit my criteria, my buy box, right? So, for example, I might be looking for 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom minimum. So that means if I see, like right here, if I see a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, I'm like, that ain't for me, because I'm not that guy. I'm not going to add another bathroom. Like, that's not the criteria. It ain't my buy box. So I'm not looking for 3 ones. I don't care if it's a 6-bedroom, 1-bath. I don't want a 1-bath. I want at least 2, at least 3 bedrooms, at least 2 baths. Of course, for single family, maybe it's a townhome and it's a 2-2. I might consider it. But you just need to be clear on what your buy box is. And I know there are certain properties that you might consider, but the point is, you want to have a top buy box list. Like, what is the one property that I definitely want to find? What is that sweet spot? What's the type of property? Like 3-bedroom, 2-bath. What's the age? I'm funny about the 3-2s at least. I'm funny about the age. I've done some rehabs on older properties. I've had a lot of headaches. I lost a lot of sleep on certain properties. And so I feel like I've earned my stripes to say no to properties that are not a certain age. I want mine to be at least in the 90s and up. I will consider some 80s depending on the area and depending on how good of a deal it is. So again, I have certain layers and certain exceptions that I will make, but I still have a certain buy box. So make sure that you have that perfect case scenario buy box. In business, we call it like a PCP, a perfect client profile. Like, who is my perfect client? Is this type of person, make this kind of money, willing to spend this much, do this, do that. They're not high maintenance, whatever your perfect client is. You need to have a buy box for that perfect type of property that you will buy. And again, if you're not the investor or the end buyer, whoever you're working with, you need to know what their buy box is, so that when you run across those types of properties, oh, this is Ramone's criteria here, or this is Jake's, this is Susan's, you know what I mean? Or this is mine. But you definitely want to familiarize yourself with your buy box and figure out like, what is my sweet spot? And again, it ain't just based on what you feel comfortable with. It's based on the market you're in. It's based on the buyers or the profile of the type of buyers. It is based on the profile of the tenants that would rent in that area. All those things play a role that you need to be clear on.